An update on that police shooting in North York. This is the SIU. Let's listen live.
The man was struck, and prior to that, there was several CEW conducted energy weapon discharges. Basically, what happened it was about 8 a.m. and there was an interaction between a man with a knife who was walking a dog and another man, and police were called. The officers responded, and there were a number of conducted energy weapons that were discharged at this man, and shots were fired. The man was struck, and the officers involved, they rendered first aid to the man, and there was an ambulance that was called and transported the man to hospital. He is in hospital undergoing surgery. He has serious injuries. The SIU at this time has a number of forensic investigators at the scene gathering evidence and also looking for any witnesses. So the SIU is asking anyone who may have any dash cam footage, video or photos, or may have seen anything to contact us.
How many shots were fired?
There were multiple shots fired and the man was struck.
All by one officer?
I'm not able to confirm how many times right now. He is in the hospital in surgery, so it's just too early to say.
How many conducted energy weapons were discharged?
There were 2 conducted energy weapons discharged at the man.
Can you clarify if the person who was shot was the one who walked the dog?
Yeah, so in the news release, I apologize, there was new information that I received after I released that, and it was actually the man who had the knife who was walking a dog, and then there was another man in the park, and there was some type of interaction, and it was the man with the dog that had a knife, and then the officers came after that, and then there was interactions between police officers there and the man that had the knife.
How many officers, Christy, involved in this interaction?
So it's a little bit unclear. What I do know is there were 2 officers who discharged their CWs, conducted energy weapons, and then there was a 3rd officer who fired their firearm.
So at least 3 in total?
Correct,
And
yes.
the officer who fired did not discharge his or her taser?
No, not that I'm aware of. Yeah, 2 officers with their tasers and then another officer with their firearm, yeah.
Any information about the interaction itself, like how it started, and how, like the man with the dog did walk up to the other man, or any information there?
It's a little bit unclear the exact sequence of events, but my understanding is that there was the man in the park who was walking his dog, and then there was some type of confrontation with another man in the park, and the man with the dog had a knife. And then following that, officers were called. This park, as you can tell, is right near the police station, so officers were quite quick to arrive and assist. And then it was just within a few minutes' time that there was the conducted energy weapons that were discharged, and then followed by the firearm. I'm not sure if you've seen the scene, but it is spread out a little bit of a distance, so I understand there was a bit of a foot pursuit. However, our forensic team is on scene just collecting bits of evidence and that kind of thing, and it'll paint a more fulsome picture as part of our investigation.
Do you know if the victim or the person shot by police was running at the time when he was shot?
I do not know if the man was running when he was shot. However, I do understand that there was a short foot pursuit, and it ended from the park and then into an intersection nearby.
Do you know if at any point the suspect threatened police with the knife?
I'm not clear if the affected person did make any motions with the knife, but I do know there was a knife recovered. As to the nature of that exact interaction between police and the man, that is under investigation.
Was the man hit with the tasers?
It's unclear if the man was hit by the tasers, but there are cartridges and that kind of thing indicating that those were deployed.
Do you know the age of the victim?
The man is 31. Yeah.
And do you know anything about the interaction between the man who was shot and the initial person in the park? Was there some kind of a threatening situation? Do you know the nature of the threat?
I don't know the nature of the threat in the park, but the man did have a knife, so the man did contact police, and they responded quite quickly.
I know you've asked for witnesses, Christy. Do you know if there was anyone else in the park at the time?
The SIU is looking for any witnesses and collecting any sort of body-worn camera and that kind of thing, so that will be part of the investigation. So more details will be forthcoming.
Did these officers have their body-worn cameras on at the time?
I believe there is some body-worn camera footage, but I don't know the specifics beyond that.
So at this point, we have 2 officers who fired their devices and 1 officer who fired off multiple rounds to put this person down?
Correct. Yeah, correct. Yeah, and the man was struck.
Do we know if those two initial people in the park knew each other?
I don't know as to any relationship at all. Yeah.
Was anyone else injured during the course of this?
I don't believe there was any injuries, but I do know that officers that were on scene did render medical care to the man who was on the ground.
And just to reiterate, Chris, you don't know how many shots were fired and how many actually struck this 31-year-old man?
No, that's still being determined. I do know it was multiple shots and that the man was struck. That's the information that I have. There's also 4 investigators with the SIU and 2 forensic investigators that are on the scene looking at this.
Do you know at all about his condition now in hospital?
I know that he's in surgery and he's in serious condition.
Do you know where he was shot on his body?
I don't know, but he was struck and he's undergoing surgery right now as we speak. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you, Chris.
Okay, an update from the Special Investigations Unit regarding a police-involved shooting in North York.